Of course, there's another alignment we'll look at together, God willing. Now, on the next slide, which is slide number 7, I have the images like this. You'll notice that I want, for example, to align all the images, but I want the alignment to be such that the images align with the one on the right, so it should be at the top. In this case, what do? I select all the images. I need to click on the image and hold down the control key on the keyboard while I keep clicking on the 4 images. You'll notice that I've selected all 4 images. Now that I've selected them, I can go to the home menu here, and then I'll go to something called Arrange. Pay close attention to this. Arrange option. I want all the images to align with the one on the right, so they should be at the top. To ensure proper alignment, it is important that all the images are positioned consistently with the one on the right. Therefore, they should be placed at the top. In this case, what do? In this particular scenario, the necessary action is to select all the images. I need to select each image individually. This involves clicking on each image while simultaneously holding down the control key on the keyboard. This process should be repeated for all 4 images to ensure they are all selected. You'll notice I've selected the 4 images. Once selected, I can go to the home menu and arrange. Pay attention to Arrange. The alignment feature in it is helpful. Since I have all the images selected, I'll find a line here. See it? I'll select Align Top. Choosing Align Top raises images to the right. This is important. This Arrange option is very important, and the alignment feature in it helps us a lot. So when I come to the Arrange option, since I have all the images selected, I'll find something called Align here. Do you see it? Through this, I can choose to align them to the top. So I'll select the Align Top option. When I go to the Arrange and say Align Top, it will raise all the images to align with the one on the right. Now they're all aligned at the same level. This is an important point, a very important aspect. Now, if I want to do the opposite, for example, I have these images and I want them to align downwards, I can easily do that. I'll select all the images or just click on them. When I align top, it raises all images. They align with the right image. To align downwards, select images. Select all images, or use Ctrl to select. Then align from the bottom. This aligns all with the bottom image. So if I want to do the opposite, for example, I have all these images and I want them to align downwards, that's totally fine. I'll select all the images or click on one image and then hold down Ctrl while I keep clicking on the other images to select them all. Then I'll go back to the align option and tell it to align from the bottom. This will align all the images at once with the image below. I've lowered the 3 images to align with the one below them. This is of course an important aspect that helps me with the alignment process. I use the mouse to click on an image, then hold down Ctrl and keep clicking on the other images to select them all. Then I go back to the Align option and tell it to align from the bottom. This will align all the images at once with the one below. I've lowered the 3 images to align with the one underneath. This is an important part of the alignment process. This is an important part that helps me with the alignment process. So, among the important things in alignment is that it doesn't just have to be about alignment. For example, I have this image and I have a lot of shapes. As you can see, there's a small gap between this shape and that shape, while the gap between this shape and that shape is larger, right? So instead of having a lot of shapes and wanting to equalize the spacing between them, I need to select the shapes. We can also have something other than just alignment. For example, I have this image and I have a lot of shapes. As you can see, there's a small gap between this shape and that shape, while the gap between this shape and that shape is larger. All right, so instead of having a lot of shapes and wanting to equalize the spacing between them, I need to select the shapes, okay? Now, when I go to the Arrange option, I do something called Distribute in the Align section, which allows me to distribute the spacing. So, what kind of spacing am I distributing here? Are they in a vertical or horizontal layout? Right now, they are in a vertical column. So, I'll choose vertical here. But of course, if it were in a horizontal layout, I would select the first option, which is horizontal. Now I'll come here and say, no, you know what? Align and distribute it like this. What did it do? It automatically increased the spacing between here and here. Distributing evenly makes it what? The same idea applies if you're doing it horizontally. You'll find the same thing. For example, if you have a rectangle and you want to move it far away, okay, what does it do? We select the 3, go to Arrange here, then to Align and choose horizontal, so it distributes horizontally. Sometimes you might want, for example, this orange square. Notice what happens when I hover over the blue color. The orange shape is now on top of the blue. So I want to do what? I want to reverse it, making the blue on top, as we say. So I need to go to the orange color and also from Sometimes you might want, for example, this orange rectangle. Notice what happens when I hover over the blue color. The orange shape is now on top of the blue. So what do I want to do? I want to reverse it, making the blue on top, as we say. So I need to go to the orange color, and also I go to arrange here, and it does something called ordering, because these are elements and I want to arrange them. So when arranging the elements, it tells me what? I'm currently selecting the orange color. I want it to be where? I want it to be in the back. I want to send it back. So I say send to back. What does it do? It sends it to the back. Regarding the blue color, I want it on top. To do this, I need to adjust the orange color. Using the arrange function, I can order elements. Currently, the orange is selected and I want it in the back. By sending it back, the blue covers this part and the orange appears. Sometimes this technique is necessary. We are explaining each skill individually, but in projects, these skills come together. It comes from arrange here. Ordering is important. I'm currently selecting the orange color. I want to send it back, so I say send to back. It sends it to the back. Sometimes you might need something like this. We are explaining these skills, but when we work on a project together, you will notice these skills are important. So the blue color covers this part and the orange color appears. Now, sometimes you might need something like this. Of course, we are explaining or clarifying these skills, each skill on its own. But when we work on a project together or two projects together, you will say, yes, when we were working on the project, we benefited from the part where we did the align here. We really needed it. For example, we needed to choose the color. So we are just explaining each skill individually. But when we do a project, you will notice that these skills are indeed important when we are working on the project. Okay, this was slide number 7 for us, or now we consider it number 8. But let me ask you, are you all following along with me, or is there any issue? You all will say, yes, when we were working on the project, we really benefited from the part where we did the align. We actually needed it. So we came to a point where we needed to choose the color. Therefore, we are just explaining each skill individually, but when we do a project, you will notice that these skills are indeed important when we are working on the project. Okay, this was slide number 7 for us, or now we consider it number 8. But let me ask you, are you all following along with me, or is there any issue? Okay, that was slide number 7 for us, or now we consider it number 8. But let me ask you, are you all following along with me, or is there any issue? I thank Dr. Allah for bringing us the tool. This is the color picker tool, which is great when you want to select a color from an image. If you have an image and it has a color you need, it will show you the color and even the shade of that color. So that's one of the special features. All right. Let's continue together with the next image. God bless you, doctor. The next image, we've talked about alignment. This is another slide. You can try to practice the third alignment, as it is crucial. Alignment is crucial. I created this shape to align right. I want it on the right side. I go to the align option here in the range and tell it to align right, to move and align right. To align left, choose left. Focus on the 2 key alignment points. Alignment and colors are key. We discussed filling shapes with color. This is a key aspect. Here, I want it to align to the right. Okay? So I go to the align option here in the range and tell it to align right. So it moves everything to the right and aligns it to the right. Conversely, if I want to align it to the left, I go to the A and choose the left side. There's also center alignment, but the main idea I want you to pay attention to is the 2 important points we discussed regarding alignment. This part is important, and the part of the colors, and of course when we talked about the colors, how we do the process of filling the shape with color, this part is important, and one of the important parts. Another important thing for us is how to remove the background. For example, here we have a picture of a bird. Let's also create another slide. Now, when you have a specific slide and you want to make a copy of it, what do? You right-click and then duplicate it to get a copy of the original. As the Sheikh said, if you want a new slide, you right-click and select New Slide, and you'll get a completely blank white slide. There's nothing you can fill in from scratch. Of course, this is the blank slide. Here I have the bird. It's just an image. This image, I inserted it, I selected the image, and it appeared. I might need this image to have a background. The image has certain colors and a specific background. I want to remove the background and make it white. Click on the image. Any shape or image brings up options. Click on the image. It shows options at the top. Picture format menu. I may need a background. The image has colors, a background, and shades. Here, I want to remove the background and make it white. Click on the image. Clicking the image shows options at the top called picture format. Any image shows picture format. If it were a shape, I want to create a square or rectangle. This is a shape. Hovering shows shape format because I'm selecting the blue shape, and the image is known to bring up the options here. When I click on the image, it shows me the options at the top and tells me, oh, this is the picture format menu. Any image I click on will bring up a menu above called picture format. If it were a shape, like a square or rectangle, this shape is called a shape. When I hover over this shape, it shows shape format because I selected the blue shape. We need to differentiate between picture format and shape format. If not selecting, does it show format options? No, it won't appear unless you select the shape or the image. How to create a square or rectangle shape. Hovering over it shows shape format because I selected the blue shape. We must differentiate picture and shape format. Hovering over the shape shows which menu. Not hovering or selecting shows no format options. No picture or shape format menu appears. Only appears when selecting shape or image. Remember, selecting the shape shows shape format. Hovering over the image shows picture format since it's an image, not a shape. Is there a difference? Yes, each object has unique properties. We need to distinguish picture format and shape format. When I hover over the shape, it shows me a menu. If I'm not hovering over the shape, if I'm not selecting anything, does it show me a menu called picture format or shape format? No, it won't appear unless you select the shape or the image. Remember, I selected the shape and it showed me a menu called shape format. When I hovered over the image, it showed me picture format. So, is there a difference? Yes, there is a difference. Each object has its own properties. If it's text, it has its own properties, and it will show me the text properties to edit and work with text properties. Keep in mind again, I selected the shape and what did it show me here? I selected a square here in blue and it brought up a menu called shape format. But when I hovered over the image, what did it show me? It showed me picture format because I'm on an image, not a shape. So is there a difference? Yes, there is a difference. Each object has its own properties. So, if it's text, it has its own properties. And it will show me the properties of the text so I can start editing it and work with those properties. When I stopped the shape, it brought me the properties, or I clicked on the shape, it brought me the properties. The features that are available on this page are what I can use to deal with this gray hair. With this shape, I can go to the fill option here and fill it with a color. I'm dealing with what? With the shape. It gives me the ability to work with the properties of this shape. When I stand on the image, I will delete this shape. The properties of the image show me something called remove background. I can highlight it with the red arrow, remove background. One of the properties of the image is remove background. When I was working with a shape, it didn't show me remove background because that's just a shape, not an image. When I stood on the image, it showed me the options and said remove background. You can click on the remove background option. I'm going to delete this shape. The properties of the image show me something called remove. I highlight it with the red arrow, remove background. One of the properties of the image is remove background. When I was working with a shape, it didn't show me remove background for the shape because it's just a shape, not an image. When I hovered over the image, it showed me the options and said remove background. You can click on the remove background option. You will notice that the background color changes to this peach color that you see. Okay, what am I doing here? All right, I created a shape, and when I stood on the shape, it didn't show me anything called remove background because it's just a shape, not an image. Okay? But when I hovered over the image, it showed me the options and said remove background. You can click on the remove background option. Just click on it and you'll notice that the background color changes to this peach color that you see. Then you come to the option and say, okay, what am I doing here? I just did the remove. Are you okay with that? It has a check mark. The remove. You agree? He's check mark. Are you okay with that or not? If you're okay, what will you learn? You will click on key change. If you're not okay with it, you will click on the second option called discard all pages here. You tell it, no, ignore this issue. I don't want it. Don't remove the background for me. But I want to, so I click on key change because the background, as you can see, because of the background, as you can see, the image is gone, it's disappeared, and now I have an image with a white background. So from this point or this skill. The simple point here is that I want you to recognize and differentiate between shape format, the properties of the shape. Okay, this is important. And keep in mind one thing, these shapes when we're working on any project are very important. So pay attention, everyone. Keep in mind that these shapes have a lot of work involved, and you can really become very professional with this work. Okay? How? We'll see together, God willing. Of course, what are these shapes? They're shapes like this one, for example. You want to create something. Here it is. This is a shape. It's a circle with a quarter of it cut out. And you might say to me, so what happens next? I want just 1/4. So keep this point in mind. You might come and ask me, what is it? Just a quarter like that. Well, I had a circle here. I can make a circle, right? Here is a circle. Well, I have a circle here with a quarter. So why did I bring you a circle that has 3/4? The full circle is there. But here, for example, you might notice, excuse me, when you stand on the circle and select it, you'll find that there are white dots. These white dots are what define the shape. You can shrink or enlarge it. See, you can click on what, and you can shrink and enlarge it and do whatever you want. Okay, but when I stood on this shape, what happened? I'm going to enlarge this shape a bit. Do you see, everyone? Turns out I don't just have white circles because I have yellow circles. Why? What does that mean? It means if you stand on the yellow circle like this and click with the mouse and keep pressing while moving it down, what happens? Do you see, everyone? It allows me to create a half circle. Do you see? A half circle allows me to create a quarter circle. So what is this? This is called a shape. I'm telling you why it's left. There are modifications in it, and there are things that if you're working with them, you're working with them a lot, and there are many ideas from the important parts. So I think Dr. Ibtihal still has her hand raised. Yes, she has lowered her hand.